Over the past few years, I've immersed myself in nearly every book on money and investing, from classics like Rich Dad Poor Dad to psychology-focused reads like Think and Grow Rich and investment strategies such as One Up on Wall Street. In this video, I'll share the key insights and surprises I've encountered from these books, particularly those that challenged my professional experiences in investment banking. I'm eager to hear if you've had similar revelations or differing perspectives. Let's dive in and explore these takeaways together. Rich Dad Poor Dad is a classic in personal finance, and it's easy to see why it's so popular. The book lays down the foundational principles of money management that are often overlooked in traditional education. The author, Robert Kiyosaki, contrasts the financial philosophies of his two dads, his biological father, who advocates for a secure job, a traditional career path, and retirement with a pension, and his best friend's father, who, despite being a high school dropout, built a business empire through independent thinking and investing. This book was my introduction to the concept of assets and liabilities. Kiyosaki defines assets as things that put money into your pocket, such as investments in stocks, real estate, side hustles, or businesses that generate additional income. On the other hand, liabilities are those things that take money out of your pocket and decrease in value over time. These are what you want to avoid, particularly in the years when you're working to build your financial foundation. One key lesson Kiyosaki emphasizes is the misconception of viewing your home as your primary investment. He argues that thinking of your home this way can lead to overextending financially, as many people end up buying more house than they need. This results in large monthly payments that could have been invested more profitably elsewhere. Rich Dad Poor Dad is an excellent starting point for anyone on a personal finance journey. It explains essential concepts in an easy-to-understand manner and highlights the importance of giving each dollar or pound a purpose, viewing it as an employee that works for you. This mindset helps clarify the trade-off between present expenses and future income, emphasizing that every dollar spent today is one that won't be able to work for you in the future. The Cash Flow Quadrant, Robert Kiyosaki explores the many ways to earn money beyond the conventional 9-to-5 job. While most people believe that a stable job is the only legitimate and realistic path to financial security, this book offers a completely different perspective. It challenges the limitations of a traditional job and shows that you don't need to be tied to a desk to make money and achieve financial freedom. In fact, Kiyosaki argues that relying solely on your job might be the worst approach if your goal is financial independence. The cash flow quadrant he introduces represents 4 different ways to earn money: being an employee, working a 9-to-5 job, being self-employed or running a small business, like a dentist or freelancer, owning a big business, and being an investor. Kiyosaki explains how each of these paths can lead to financial freedom, with a particular focus on which options are most likely to get you there. While this book is great for sparking new ideas and expanding your understanding of money, it might not offer as many actionable takeaways or practical steps to implement immediately. However, it's a valuable resource for anyone looking to rethink their approach to earning and managing money. The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss is a book that initially sparked skepticism with its title. After all, a 4-hour work week sounds too good to be true. However, as I delved deeper into the book, I realized it's not about working less, but about working smarter. Ferriss explains how anyone can live a retired millionaire's lifestyle by building a business, automating it, and then collecting income while enjoying life, essentially living the life most people wait until retirement to experience. The book illustrates how something that initially seems far-fetched and out of reach is actually more achievable than you might think. Ferriss breaks down practical strategies for creating a business that runs with minimal input, allowing you to focus on what truly matters to you. This book pairs perfectly with the cash flow quadrant, which opens your eyes to the possibilities of earning money outside the traditional job setup. Together, they provide both the mindset and the tools to explore new avenues of financial freedom and design a life on your terms. The Millionaire Fastlane by M.J. DeMarco, a book that challenges conventional wisdom with a unique perspective on wealth creation. DeMarco argues that while there's no such thing as get rich easy, there is such a thing as get rich quick, which is rarely discussed. He introduces 3 distinct paths in financial life. The first path is the sidewalk, where you spend more than you earn, trapping yourself in a paycheck-to-paycheck cycle with little hope of financial freedom. This path is characterized by a lack of financial discipline and a focus on immediate gratification. The second path is the slow lane, which follows the traditional advice of getting good grades, securing a stable job, saving a portion of your paycheck, and investing with the hope of retiring comfortably at 65 or later. While this approach is safer, it's slow and ultimately involves trading your time for money, which limits your financial potential. The third path is the fast lane, which focuses on leveraging your time to create passive income. This involves investing your time and energy into creating a product, service, or system that continues to generate income long after the initial work is done. This strategy expands your income potential significantly, as it isn't limited by the hours you work. DeMarco emphasizes that while the fast lane offers the possibility of getting rich relatively quickly, it requires a lot of hustle, hard work, and discipline. Success in the fast lane is the result of years of experience, knowledge, and relentless commitment. What I appreciate about this book is that, while DeMarco discusses the concept of getting rich quickly, which can often sound like a scam, he remains grounded in the reality that significant wealth requires intense effort and dedication. The journey may seem quick in hindsight, but it's built on a foundation of years of learning and growth. Next, we have Think and Grow Rich, a classic that often sparks varying opinions. Think and Grow Rich is a book that tends to polarize readers. You either love it or hate it, with little middle ground. I've encountered people who felt that the book was all fluff and didn't deliver on its promise. They expected a clear, actionable roadmap to wealth and were disappointed when they didn't find that. On the other hand, there are those who credit this book with transforming their mindset and financial lives. For them, it was a light bulb moment that helped them unlock limiting beliefs about money and understand what was holding them back. So, what's my take? When it comes to success, I believe mindset is everything. If you approach life with a scarcity mindset, thinking there's never enough and that money is hard to come by, then that is what you'll experience. On the other hand, if you believe in abundance and that you're capable of achieving wealth, your actions will align with those beliefs and lead you toward success. But, and this is a big but, mindset alone is not enough. You can have the most positive, abundance-oriented mindset in the world, but if you're not taking action, you won't get very far. It's like having the best tools but never using them to build anything. You need both the right mindset and consistent, focused action. If you're looking to improve your mindset and are open to exploring your beliefs and digging deep into your thought patterns, then this book is for you. However, if you're not a fan of the philosophical approach and are seeking a step-by-step guide to building wealth, you might want to skip this one and focus on some of the other books I've mentioned that offer more practical advice for getting rich. The Psychology of Money. Another classic in the realm of personal finance is The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. I've dedicated an entire video to this book and the lessons I've learned from it, which I'll link here. Ultimately, money is as much about psychology as it is about math. It's about how our minds perceive and interact with money, our feelings toward money, our past experiences with it, and how these factors often overshadow the raw financial knowledge we possess. One of the most interesting insights from this book relates to how often we misattribute the role of chance or luck in our financial lives. Housel discusses how most of us try to learn about money by studying the most exceptional financial success stories, like those of Bill Gates, thinking we can replicate their paths. However, the more exceptional the story, the more likely it is that luck played a significant role in the outcome, making it difficult to extract applicable lessons for our own lives. Instead, Housel recommends focusing on patterns rather than people. For example, if one person took route A to achieve success, but 10 others took route B and succeeded, it's more likely that route B is the path that will work for you. This is because chance or luck likely played a larger role for the person who took route A. When it comes to money, there are key patterns and fundamentals that apply universally, regardless of luck. These principles don't require a huge stroke of fortune and are critical to long-term financial success. I've created a free guide that delves into these fundamentals, which have been proven time and again by investing experts. On page 32 of the guide, you'll find strategies that are most likely to guarantee your success in investing. If you're interested, the guide is available for free in the description box below. There are also certain fundamentals that many money books fail to mention. I'll touch on those in a moment, but first, now that we've covered the basics of managing your money, let's talk about how to grow it. Where should you channel your money to multiply its value? This brings us to a concept introduced by Alex Hormozi called ignorance debt when it comes to gathering knowledge. Hormozi explains that the difference between your current earnings and the ability to make $100 million lies in the information you haven't yet learned. Essentially, it's the gap in your knowledge, your ignorance debt, that keeps you from reaching that level. This concept is particularly relevant when it comes to investing. As beginners, we often overestimate our understanding of the topic, believing we've grasped all the intricacies and are ready to make big financial decisions. However, this premature confidence can be misleading if we don't have a strong enough foundation in our understanding. So, what are some books that can help tackle this ignorance debt and start you on your investing journey? Two excellent choices are The Intelligent Investor and Girls That Invest. The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham is a timeless classic, often recommended by Warren Buffett himself. It provides deep insights into the principles of value investing and teaches you how to approach the stock market with a disciplined, long-term mindset. This book is ideal for those looking to build a solid foundation in investment strategy and risk management. Girls That Invest by Simran Kaur, on the other hand, is a more modern and accessible guide, especially for beginners. It breaks down complex investing concepts into simple, relatable language, making it easier for anyone to understand the basics and get started on their investing journey. Together, these books offer a comprehensive approach to overcoming your ignorance debt and building the knowledge you need to make informed, confident investment decisions. The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham is a timeless classic that Warren Buffett read at 19 and still regards as the best book on investing ever written. The book's principles emphasize that successful long-term investing doesn't require specialized knowledge, high intelligence, or deep insights. Instead, it requires two key elements: a rational framework for making decisions and the discipline not to let emotions override that framework. Graham covers how the market behaves, the basic fundamentals of finance, and how to maintain control over your psychology. On the other hand, Girls That Invest by Simran Kaur, a friend of mine, provides a modern, accessible guide to investing, especially for beginners. Girls That Invest by Simran Kaur is an excellent book for the ultimate beginner, explaining why you should invest, the basics and terminology of investing, and how to identify your investing personality type to create a portfolio that suits you. The Little Book of Common Sense Investing by John Bogle, CEO of Vanguard and the inventor of index funds, advocates for a simple strategy: invest in index funds and hold them indefinitely. He explains why index funds often outperform other options and discusses the ideal asset allocation between stocks and bonds based on age. However, I find the book somewhat outdated, and Bogle's approach to asset allocation is a bit conservative. For a more modern perspective, consider following it up with The Dando Investor by Monish Pabrai and One Up on Wall Street by Peter Lynch. The Dando Investor by Monish Pabrai and One Up on Wall Street by Peter Lynch emphasize a similar principle: the best investments are often right under your nose, aligning with what you already know and interact with in your daily life. This gives everyday investors a unique advantage over Wall Street professionals. I agree with this to some extent. For example, about 5 years ago, I had Invisalign treatment to straighten my teeth. I was highly impressed with the product. It allowed me to straighten my teeth discreetly without traditional metal braces, and I was thrilled with the results. This positive experience led me to look into the company behind Invisalign, and I discovered that it was publicly listed. After reviewing the company's reports, I decided to invest in its stock. That investment has turned out to be the most profitable one I've ever made, purely from being a customer and witnessing the impact firsthand. So, while I do agree that the average investor has the potential to one-up professionals, it's not as simple as just being a customer of a product. It requires thorough research and a deep understanding before making any investment decisions. A common thread among all these books and across all genuine financial advice is that there are no shortcuts to success or getting rich. Achieving financial success requires discipline, persistence, and the ability to control your emotions when it comes to money. However, what I've found lacking in most finance-focused books is the emphasis on investing in yourself before investing in the stock market. While investing in stocks is often a long and slow game, investing in yourself, whether it's improving your ability to manage money, starting a business, or pursuing a side hustle, can yield more immediate benefits. Although this path requires more work, discipline, and knowledge, it is crucial, especially in the short term. If you're interested in going down this route, I have plenty of videos that can help you get started. I've also created a playlist that I'll link here for you to explore further. Before I wrap up this video, I'd like to ask for your support. Over 75% of the people who watch my videos haven't subscribed to the channel, which is unusually high. If you found value in this content, please consider subscribing. It helps the channel grow and allows me to continue creating more content like this. Thank you for your support.